All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us. We taught the Ignite last week on your value proposition. So for those who do not know us, my name is Katie Kessler, and this is my husband, Jordan Kessler, not brother. So
drives a mom car.
Yes.
Drives a mom car, that's right, I do.
Yes. We're part of the Carol Kessler team. It's both of us as well as my parents, and then also TJ Carvalho, he's on our team. So you may see him from time to time, or if you ever have an appraisal question, he is a good resource.
Yep, he teaches some classes on inside stuff for appraisals, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. There's really good stuff there.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got some new faces here. Here in the classroom, we've got Mara and Stephanie and Jamie. And then nice for you to join us as well, Ashley. I don't think you were on the last one. Same with Lisa. I don't know if you were on the last one as well. It's good seeing you again, Sharon and Salvador. Glad you can join us.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and dive into prospecting. And what we're going to focus on today is, as far as growing our business, talk about different lead generation. The one thing is you need to find what works best for you and then do it well. There are so many different avenues you can go down as far as lead generating. And if you're not enjoying it, then you're going to get burned out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We're going to talk about how you can lead generate for buyers and sellers, as far as make seller and listing presentations, get the presentations, preview real estate, and then also just about running your business there.
So yeah, lead generate for buyers and sellers. Before
we dive into this, does anybody have any questions before we start? Okay.
So is number page number uno look for you guys?
Jordan, he has. Oh. He has his guide there.
I want to make sure we're looking at the right one here.
Well, I didn't print out the first page.
Yeah, this is the first page of text.
Okay.
For this one.
So for us, it looks like the first thing to cover is the compliance and the do not call list. You guys are all familiar with that. Make sure you are getting with Margaret. They will give you the access to that information on how to get the do not call list, because it is against the law for us to call those people that are on that list. So if you're making cold calls, make sure you have access to that. Cold calls aren't really something we do, so I don't know how to get you that list, but I know it exists, and I know it's important to check it.
Make sure to check it before you call.
So make sure you do that.
Otherwise, you'll get emails from Elizabeth saying not to call certain numbers.
Right.
Yes.
So who all likes to prospect and do lead generation? Stephanie's got two hands up.
Get into it.
Mara's like, yeah. It is. It's the hardest part of real estate. It's also it's the most important part of real estate, right? Because if you're a secret agent, how are people going to know? So there's a bunch of different ways to prospect. There's like Katie said, it's important to find what works for you and what you do well, because that's what you're going to enjoy doing. If you hate cold calling, don't cold call. I think Matt Harper, he loves that stuff, so he does it all the time, and it works for him.
He does really well with it. It's a strength of his.
Yep, it's a strength of his. It's just not something that we do. So I remember when I took Ignite 4 years ago, this month is when I started Ignite. I got done, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to cold call. I have to call my sphere. I have to, there's so many different things to do. It was like drinking through a fire hose, and I finally realized that if I tried to do all of those different prospecting and lead generation methods, I would do a mediocre job at best at all of them. Mm-hmm. So it was finding things you enjoy to do, like door knocking. Katie said she likes to door knock.
I like it.
I enjoy door knocking. I don't enjoy cold calling, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because you would think it's easier to make a phone call than knock on someone's door.
I'd rather be face to face. That's just for me, where over the phone.
Say hi to their dogs and.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. So there's so many different ways you can go about it, but don't think you have to try to tackle them all. Try to find your niche, find what works exactly for you, and it's going to take trial and error to figure out what that is.
Give it the red light, green light approach. So, just because you try it for one day or 1 week doesn't mean you're going to get results right away. Mm-hmm. Give it some time as well, and then, find out what returns you are getting from those different lead generation sources.
Yep.
So give it the red light, green light. As I always go think of Ron Benson, he always says, you know, you're plugging those ping pong balls down the tube, even though they're not popping out right away, sooner or later they'll start coming out the other end.
Yep.
You'd be
What's
surprised.
the weirdest analogy? Like what, why would
Just
I
keep
need
putting the-
ping pong ball in a tube?
It's like you just keep
Anyway,
putting them in, and then
sure.
eventually they'll start popping out the other end
That's
once
right.
that tube's filled.
Yep.
So I always think of him for that. That's-
Jelly beans maybe. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he told me the same thing when I got into real estate, and I'll be darned, there's people that I talked to when I got into real estate 4 years ago that we're doing deals with right now. Oh, hey, you still in real estate? Yep, still in real estate. How can I help you out? So the more people you let know, and there's so many different ways you can go about prospecting, and we'll talk about the different ways. So on page 4, you have prospecting, you have both, and then marketing. So just the different ways of prospecting, you guys, there's a ton of ways to go about it. There are for sale by owners. There are a lot of information you can get on for sale by owners if that's who you want to target. There's a couple agents in Arvada that strictly target those. Wait for them to have some problems. You can call with a script and create some problems for them. And they say, oh, wow, maybe I really should be using an agent. And you can be that source for them. You can go after expired listings, which is kind of tough right now because they don't really exist. In a different market, and I think when this was made, there were many more expireds. Obviously, we know that homes pretty much sell right now unless they smell like cats or they're overpriced.
One thing too is, you know, it says phone or face-to-face. One thing that we've done is if we have a buyer need for a certain area and we do come across a for sale by owner or expired listings, we write them a handwritten letter in the mail, just saying, you know, we saw that your home hasn't sold before. We have a buyer who's interested, and then try to do an off-market sell. So that's always an avenue as well too.
Yep.
As far as that, we've had some luck with that.
Absolutely. Jim always says anything works and nothing doesn't. So whether it's a handwritten note or a phone call or you're knocking on somebody's door.
You don't know unless you try.
My brother wanted to buy land up in Coal Creek Canyon for the longest time so he could build a house on it. And I think Katie dug through tax records, found out where he lived,
This lot that was for sale.
lives right down over here in Arvada. Katie knocked on the door and he sold the land to my brother. My brother's building a house there right now.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to look that
That's
stuff up
cool.
and go the extra mile.
I've done that a couple times in my neighborhood. There's a house that's abandoned and it's right in Wheat Ridge. It's like, it's right in the middle and it needs some work, but I'm like, man, it makes me cry to see an empty house in this
Yep.
neighborhood. What
Mhm.
can I do for you?
There was one like that on Carr, 57th and Carr, the
Yeah.
second one in.
Yeah.
It's been abandoned for years. We've heard there's mold in the basement.
Right.
I've written that owner at least 5 or 6 handwritten letters,
Yeah.
never gotten anything back.
Huh.
It's like a PO box in Park County. I don't know where it goes,
Right,
but
right.
you know.
Somebody's just ignoring it.
someone's gonna open that and look at it. And like
Mhm.
Ron says, Katie's gonna go back to it. The more you put in,
Mhm.
the more you're gonna get out, right? And then you start, then you can look at, if you do Marg's business planning clinic with her, you can look at what your success ratio is versus your appointments versus the contacts that you're making. So I would highly recommend doing that when she does that. It's usually towards the end of the year.
Yeah, it's usually about November. It's a great clinic.
Know your conversion rates, because then you know how many letters do I need to write, how many phone calls do I need to make, all things that I'm sure you've already talked about with Margaret there.
How many appointments do I need to go on? And then
Mhm.
also once you have closed units, see where your business came from. Circle back to that. Every year we look at it, and a lot of times it comes from the people that we know in our sphere. So that's where we're pouring more into our sphere.
Mhm.
So you find out where your business does come from and run with that.
And then you have circle prospecting, which would probably be a little more passive prospecting, which is something we do quite a bit of. This is talking about neighborhoods, apartments, complexes, recently sold and recently listed. So that's, you sell a home, you send out a postcard, hey, I sold your neighbor's house for X amount, and you send it to the 50, 100, 150 closest homes in the area. That's what circle prospecting
I've
is.
been doing that now
Mhm.
for 5 months.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yeah, and be consistent with it,
Yeah.
right? Be consistent with it. You can do that with just solds, just listed. You could even do just bought. I just helped somebody buy in here. I think the most effective one with recently solds are saying, hey, I have X amount of offers and there's 19 buyers that still want to be in your neighborhood. If you're thinking about selling, that's good content to put on that stuff. So that's circle prospecting. Community outreach, that's just, being within your community. There's so many things this says charity and volunteer work. There's so many things you can do within your community.
Like my dad, he's part of the Arvada Optimist Club. He's been a part of it probably as long as he's been in real estate. And it's just something where he has that outlet there and has made those connections within his group there.
Yep.
So as far as if you are a part of a charity, a church, any kind of volunteer work,
Volunteer to coach your kids' t-ball team, soccer team, things
any
like
kind
that.
of community programs.
Yep. Anything that gets you out there in front of your friends and your neighbors. And then you get to talking. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, you're in real estate. And then you can start having conversations. And hey, if you want to keep up on the latest, would you mind if I just got your address? I'll put you in my database. I'll just keep in touch with you. I won't send you a bunch of junk. Oh yeah, no problem. And then all of a sudden, they've been getting your mailer for 2 or 3 years, and you're top of mind. So it's really just, it's belly to belly is what Ron always says. It's a belly to belly business. You get out, you get in front of people, and you just have normal conversations with people.
Yeah, and I was say, like Jordan just said, being top of mind, that's the thing, is whether somebody's ready to make a move 10 years down the road, you want to be first choice there.
Top of mind.
Top of mind.
Right? And that starts with, I know it's easy for Katie and I to say that because we've been doing it for so long that we get referrals from but that will come. I mean, Katie had referral business within her first 3 or 4 months of being in real estate. Hey, you did such a good job. Call my friend Katie, let her help you out.
Take good care of the people that you do work with, because then word of mouth is huge.
Yep. And for prospecting, key relationships. So that would be, going out into Old Town and knocking on doors and say, hey, we just moved in. Just wanted to let you know we're in the neighborhood here.
Builders going and previewing different communities that with the new builds. It is tough right now as far as just because new builds are such high demand, getting that in, but at least know the communities and build those relationships with builders, because as you do more transactions with them, they'll remember you as an agent, and then they may bring you on as one of their preferred agents for selling a home if somebody doesn't have someone.
Yep. And one thing you'll hear Katie and I say a lot is you need contractors to be in real estate, because you can be a huge solution for a lot of problems. So with this key relationships, you have, 2 separate parts of it that are really going to benefit your business. One, inspections come up and you already have somebody you can call. Hey, I already emailed my electrician. He says he can fix it for this. Okay. We don't even have to figure that out after, until we have it all figured out before the inspection objection or resolution, as opposed to kind of guessing at things. So you get to be a partner there, and then those people need to become your referral partners too, right? So it's a 2-way street. You get to, you get more referrals from your clients because you're already there to solve a solution, because you have a sewer scope guy or a plumber or a roofer or an electrician or whatever. So you take care of your clients that way, they're going to give you referrals. On top of that, you have relationships with those contractors as well. And you say, hey, if I'm feeding you business, 2-way street, right? And usually that's how it works there. So for key relationships, that's kind of where we see a lot of benefit. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. This says investors. I don't know that investors, you don't really get online and say hey, who's my investor? I'm going to go build a relationship. You'll find the longer you're in real estate, the more people you'll run into and say, hey, if you ever come across a good flip, let me know.
And I find that once people know that they have someone, if they own a bunch of rental properties or they're looking for those investment properties all the time, they already have a go-to real estate person.
Correct.
So you want to find an investor at the beginning of their career and be their go-to.
100%. 100%. If somebody's been flipping houses in Denver for 20 years, they're looking for a realtor.
Right, but they might know someone.
They probably have 3, right? No, exactly.
Yeah.
For a perfect example, I was playing golf for a buddy's birthday a few weeks ago. And one of the guys I was playing with, we just got to talking about what we'd do. And because, I got a lot of money in the stock market, and I really want to get into flipping homes and investing in homes. Is that something you can help me out with? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. So I probably need to follow up and take him to lunch or something like that and start cultivating that
Did you
relationship.
intentionally like have some bad shots so he felt really good about his golfing?
Well,
Cause that's what I would do.
here's the thing, I try to hit good shots and then they just go bad, so
Yeah.
yes, it works out.
I would naturally be bad, and
Yeah.
then later when they were my client for a while, I'd say, well, you know, I intentionally threw
Yeah.
that thing.
Stroke it a little
Really
bit.
made, yeah.
Right.
And
So
one,
you'd be, oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, one thing too is you'll be surprised just when and where you'll be prospecting. So you never know. I actually went to a housewarming party for some buyers I just helped and just started talking to people and they knew I had helped them, and then it was the same thing. I want to start buying multifamily. And so you just never know when and where you may be, and the conversations usually come up there.
Mhm.
And then as far, as far as the rest of the list goes here, teaching and speaking opportunities. If you're involved in various, extracurriculars outside, again, being in front of people, just talking with people, is huge. Meals, door-to-door canvassing, networking events are always good. We usually when we teach Ignite, there's at least one or two people. I just moved here. I don't know what to do. It's
Yeah.
like, listen, I didn't have to go through that. I'm lucky I'm from here, so we knew people here.
And back to the
But
door
if you
to
are,
the door-to-door canvassing, I've had some luck with that as far as we wrote an offer on a house and didn't get it. And so we went to just a certain, I'd say I was within a certain range of homes for door knocking. And it's funny, people answer the door like, well, the one across the street's for selling. So that one, we went up to X amount and still didn't get it. And then we were able to get the listing from that one because they couldn't believe how much their neighbor's house sold for. So you're starting to build those conversations, and then also you're fulfilling a buyer need.
Yep, that's huge. There's so many different conversations you can have by knocking on people's doors. You can take them free stuff. It's for the open house. It's for, hey, I just sold your neighbor's house. I like door knocking, and I hated it at first. I did not like it at first. One, because we were in a neighborhood where people were mean, in my opinion. Just kidding. But for me, door knocking it's so effective that it's necessary, and for me, it became a game. You're only going to have, if you knock 100 doors, you're only going to have so many good conversations.
Right.
Not everybody's going to open the door and be friendly with you. So for me, it became a game. Who's my next good conversation going to be? Looking forward to that next. It wasn't you. Go to the next one. I mentally had to make myself do that. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, no soliciting? Not going to knock on your door. There you go.
You're gonna get the mean ones from time to time,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yes.
I know.
Sounds like Mara's got a story to tell.
Oh, no, well, we went prospecting, Sherry and I in a certain neighborhood, and it was a nice day. And COVID is weird, like,
Yes.
so it was a nice day, people were out washing their car, doing their lawn or whatever. And people were so friendly, it was fun, it was actually fun. We had one mean lady, but that's okay.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's necessary. So whatever you got to do to get yourself in that mental mindset to do that stuff, it's worth it. It really is.
And if you have a great conversation with somebody, write their address down and then write a handwritten note. I really enjoyed our time speaking together, and they'll remember that and keep that.
Yep. Let me know if I can ever do anything to help. Something like that. So then, once you talk about prospecting and you're able to get people in your sphere, you start building your database, right? You put it into command and have your CRM there. Then you can start talking about some farming and some serious marketing once you get to those people. There's a lot of different farming you can do. You can do geographic, you can do demographic, which
And it's farming, not, as I say, it's not involving the cows and chickens. We had somebody go at a family reunion, go to a class, and it literally was on farmland, and not the farming he thought.
was
You
it
have to
really?
be specific.
Was it like agriculture or what?
Mhm.
Oh.
It was an agricultural class, and
Can I ask you guys a question about walk-ins, because that's at the bottom of prospecting?
yeah.
Sure.
And I've done a couple of shifts of floor duty, which I think is eventually going to be great, but again, nobody. I was here by myself. I was telling Jamie, I wish I would have brought my violin, because I would have played it even as badly as I play, and maybe someone would have heard me. I ended up on the porch here on Saturday. But is there anything that you guys know that the center is planning to do? I mean, there's the sign, which is great, but are we gonna do any like advertising or social media about, hey, we always have someone on board who need to talk to you or anything?
I don't know.
I would say that'd be a good question. I know we've talked about it in the ALC meetings as
Mhm.
far as just
Right.
getting more traffic for the walk-ins, but then also just events as soon as we get those coming back, cause like they do
Yeah.
the Sunday farmer markets, and usually there's gonna be more events happening in Old Town.
Yeah.
So hopefully getting traffic from those.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not everybody has a real estate need, which is fine. I wonder, I'm just trying to think, what else could I, like playing my violin or having, like doing something outside that people would have noticed, just to start conversations
Mhm.
would have been great. But even I sat outside for an hour and people would just, nobody would catch my eye and.
Well, you gotta think,
eyes
we're,
and-
I don't wanna say my generation, probably the one younger than us. It's the type of generation that would rather have a conversation like via email or text message.
Not email, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't-
Text message.
They don't wanna walk up and like have a
TikTok.
conversation. Honestly, I think kids younger than me, and I learned this through coaching high school baseball.
Yeah.
Kids these days, they don't wanna walk up, and not 18-year-old kids, but even kids, people in their mid-20s that are probably ready to buy a home.
Mhm.
They don't wanna walk up and have a conversation with you. It's intimidating to them.
Yeah.
You probably see it with high school kids too.
Yeah.
They're intimidated to go have those conversations, because if they don't have the answers, I feel like they don't have the ability to think on their feet. They would rather text message
Right.
and hang back, so
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are afraid of those
I
face-to-face
guess I'm
conversations.
just gonna try to figure out ways that I can engage people and not even with the real estate questions, but just even hey, isn't this weather great kind of thing, like just getting people to stop long enough to really see your face.
No, then that's absolutely
So,
huge.
I'll
If
keep
you want somebody
working
to
on
stick
that.
around and, that
Yeah.
goes back to, how to influence people and that's
Mhm.
engaging in them.
Kind of hidden.
Yes.
No, if they're under 6 years old, I got it.
Got the magic tricks?
My go-to.
There you go. So yeah, walk-ins, it's a great opportunity.
It's
here.
gonna be better. I know it's gonna get good and I
Yeah.
wanna keep doing it, but I wanna actually fix it as much as I can.
Yeah, and we see a lot of people, they're, to find a realtor, if they think about buying and selling, they're asking their friends and family first. They're getting on Google. It's, for somebody to just walk up here like, hey, I need a realtor.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's interesting though, because we did go door knock for our Old Town listing this last week, and one of the neighbors goes, I've been meaning to stop by your office. And so it was interesting. She knew we were here, and so,
Mhm.
yeah.
They're still out there.
Mhm.
People
Yeah.
that'll just
Yeah.
come walking in,
Yeah.
so.
How many bids did you guys get on that beautiful one?
We ended up with two.
Good.
Two, so two
You
good offers.
Didn't get one from a Lindsay L. Nicholas, okay.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So, farming, you have geographic, demographic. Does everybody know the difference between that? Geographic would be like a certain area. Demographic would be like pulling stats, and you want to mail to people that have lived lived there for like 7 years. Or if you wanna go
The
after-
elderly,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or if you
people
want
that
to go
maybe,
first time
transitioning.
home buyers, maybe you only mail to 22 to 35-year-old. So there's a lot of resources with that. Land title is a huge resource for geographic and demographic farming. I would say we do more geographic farming
Mhm.
than
Yep.
we do, and then we have our sphere, and we can talk about how we work our sphere in our database. You have your open houses, seminars, contests, client appreciation events.
Yes.
Those are things that we do. Again, once you build your database, whether you have 10 people or 150 people in it, you can always be doing stuff like contests and client appreciation events and stuff like that with them.
And I would say open houses are huge, especially for newer agents, just because there's so much opportunity with our office through the coaching program as far as having those open houses. But that gives you the opportunity if you want to go door knock before the open house, and then, having those conversations with neighbors. Because with open houses, the chances of you actually picking up a buyer, I would say it's definitely still possible, but a lot of times you can have good conversations with neighbors that are thinking about listing.
Right.
So.
If anything, I would say an open house, if you're there to try to pick up a buyer that's just walking in, probably you're gonna have a lot of disappointment. What you should really be after on your open houses are the neighbors and trying to list their homes. I think
We've had it happen with the buyers, but I'd say just your odds.
I've
are
gotten
not in
more
your
listings
favor.
from open houses than I have buyers. Because, again, like I said, and I think this goes back to what my personal opinions are, people that are wanting to look at buying a house they're not just gonna go to an open house and have a conversation, they're gonna call their friends, they're gonna call their family, who should I use, get on Google. They're still out there.
Unless there's, yeah,
I
that's just-
found one at your condo.
and some people, if it's not their first time buying, they feel comfortable going through the listing agent because they feel like they can look out for themselves, and they feel like they can get a better deal on the house too.
Yep, a lot of good opportunities. That's what I was saying at Coffee Talk this morning, that now with listings sitting on the market for more than 3 days, you can really leverage your listings now, which is a good thing to build your business. You know, they're not, it's not just one open house. Maybe now it's 2 open houses and the same neighbor comes, oh, hey, you're here again. Yep. So you get to leverage yourself a little bit more. So really take the opportunity to do the open houses. Katie and I, we don't do as much as we'd like to, just because we have kids, young kids. So, yeah, Mr. Mom, and that's no shit. Don't need Mr. Mom. So we don't get to do a lot of our open houses anymore like we would, but there's so much opportunity with open houses.
People still go by and ask for you though.
That's fine, yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny. Trevor
the
Lane.
Olsons, yeah, Trevor Lane, yep. Networking, using your past clients.
And real quick too, going back to events, you know, as you have been in the business, you build up the clientele, people appreciate the events. And so we're getting ready to do, like for us, we're getting ready to do a Rockies game. And so that's something that, you know, we don't invite our whole sphere, but you know, once you build your clientele and have your top clients, you can treat them to those events.
Yep. And you don't need a huge, gigantic sphere to do this stuff, because you can easily take 5 or 10 people to Topgolf, right? Taking 5 or 10 people to a Rockies game may seem like a little much, you know what I'm saying? But if you can scale your event.
You can even get a food truck to come to your house. When my dad got into real estate, he started having just parties at his house. It became a lot of the neighborhood parties, so he did 2. So he did one that was because he farmed that neighborhood, so he had one for the neighborhood and then one for clients. And it was just an open house party. I think they had it catered, or if you want a food truck just to come to your house and do like a little drinks in the driveway, pair it with some of these local businesses, they'll help you make it effective as well.
Yep, we do the ice cream truck that you've seen over in the neighborhood. You guys do the food trucks. It's anything you can do that you provide value to people. That's really all it is. I mean, and there's no set way to do it. There's just the sky's the limit. We come up with fun ways to engage with our clients not all the time, because not as much as we'd like to. Yeah, client appreciation events are very, very, they're important because you're able to get in front of people and not have it be 100% about real estate. If they want to bring it up, great. But other than that, you're just trying to do something nice for them. So then you have purchased, and this is talking about referral networks, advertising networks, and clientele. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, these are probably like leads that you buy. Or as far as, that's what they're referring to in section 4 there.
I would think so.
Mhm.
And that's not something we do, so we can't help you with that. No, just kidding. There's a lot of content you can pay for out there. That's just not really something we do, so I don't know how well we'd be able to speak to it.
But there's agents in our office that do. So like I said, the red light, green light, find what works. And if you are paying for a service, or the lead service, or even advertising, see what your ROI is on it. If you're not getting any leads after so much time, then maybe start looking somewhere else.
Yep.
We used to advertise in the church bulletin. And we got, I would say, a couple leads from that, but then after a while, we didn't find it was as effective for what we were paying, and we stopped.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it wasn't paying for itself. And like Jim did the bus benches for a long time, and those were really effective.
back then they're much cheaper. Now they're expensive.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder how much that gal, Jenny Apple, pays for she does the grocery carts at My King Supers? Like I would know her anywhere, as I'm always looking
She
at
was
her.
my agent when I sold my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Islands.
Yeah.
She is the worst, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know her.
No. They'll call every once in a while. You'll be surprised. Somebody will call you. They called us about doing the grocery carts at 80th and Wadsworth at King Supers a year or 2 ago, and it's just like, that's just not our style.
But even going back to the networking, everybody that you know. So going to section 3, let people know that, you know, your friends, family, everybody know that you are in real estate. Facebook, allows for so much opportunity. I should say social media altogether. Facebook is our avenue that is best. So,
Some of the younger people, maybe it's TikTok, whatever that is.
yeah, we're not there yet, but
I don't know what it is.
also as far as networking, you don't have to be so much real estate in their face. For instance, on like Facebook, it tells everybody if something happens in their life, they put it right on Facebook. So, if people are getting engaged, maybe they've lost somebody, there's your opportunity to reach out and say, I'm really sorry for your loss, or congratulations on your engagement. And you'd be surprised, maybe one person needs to sell their home and you never know.
Yep, yeah.
So I
that's-
say Facebook, it allows for a lot of opportunity just for you to reach out and network with people that you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because you jump over here to marketing, you talk about all the stuff you can pay for is radio, TV, newspaper, magazines, billboards. So obviously that's the most stuff you can do.
Grocery cards.
Grocery cards. But yeah, online advertising, social media is here. We do ours in, 100% organic. We don't pay for anything on Facebook. Although you can, and you can also do that through command and pay for leads. But like Katie was saying, our social media marketing is all organic. It's reaching out to people, it's being strategic in how we post and what we post. And it's free marketing. It's a free way to get in front of people. So we would seriously, really consider
on, as far as our prospecting, we make sure we're putting in the time just for our Facebook.
Yep. Does anybody have any questions? Because I think we're gonna figure out how to tie prospecting and marketing and tie it all into one. Does anybody have any questions before we move on?
I do.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sherry and I have that listing. I think she talked to you about it, but I thank you for helping with the.
Yeah.
price-
Did you guys end up
price
doing it?
correction.
Yeah.
Did you do a price
That-
correction?
We did.
Good.
But just thinking about what to do next, reverse advertising, do you guys ever do anything with that? Did somebody mention?
Reverse prospecting, like through the MLS?
Reverse-
So, there's
Yeah,
different ways you
yeah.
can go about it. In the MLS, you can do reverse prospecting. Do you know how to find those people?
No.
I can help you. I can help you with that.
Okay.
It's very simple as far as once you go into MLS, then you can reach out to those people directly. We've done the e-flyers before where at the time our admin did it for us. So if you ask me how to do it, I know we did it, but basically targeting certain agents and sending out our listing that way. So it's through an email e-flyer.
It usually comes
Okay.
through and it says, I have a listing that fell into your buyer's search, maybe they missed it or something like that.
Not that, or well, I was gonna say that's the reverse prospecting.
Yeah.
I've
But
been
then
getting a
the
lot of those lately.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
But then the
Yeah.
e-flyer targets certain agents that, not just with Keller Williams, but you can send it all Evergreen, or go with a certain radius of the Denver metro area, and it sends it out to all those agents.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Yeah,
that's always a way,
to.
I'll look up who we used, but,
Okay.
I would say maybe have you guys tried a broker open?
No.
What's that?
That's where you invite other agents, so it's not so much an
Oh,
open
yeah.
house just for, the public, but, inviting other agents from other companies that may have prospective buyers.
It's kind of something you do on like a luxury listing like yours.
Mhm.
That'd be a good one for a broker open if your clients are open to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But for that price point, it's I think they're effective.
Mhm.
The broker opens
Yeah,
are.
I do too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Moving on. We're gonna take a break.
Does that answer your question as far as the?
The reverse prospecting and MLS.
I'll show you how to
Okay.
get to it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I haven't done it in a long time.
That needed to, right?
I'd say the e-flyers is a thing, and maybe broker open.
Okay.
Those would be my suggestions.
Yep.
Sometimes write a bird.
So this is what it's.
So yeah,
Door
going
knocking
to your
model?
guide,
Okay,
looks like you guys have some questions on the next page.
that's page 6, 5.
I think so, I'm pretty optimistic.
So this is the door knocking model here. So what does this look like? Trying to follow the guide. Make sure we follow the rules.
model.
Rule follower.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as I can read it, we can get everything moving forward on
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's good.
Make sure we're not.
Make sure you didn't miss anything. Oh, okay, so it's gonna door knocking, agent to agent, open houses and social media, perfect.
Mhm.
So you can go down to.
Let's go
door
through
knocking,
this.
Like we talked about. putting
So
stuff.
the lead generation model, and the one thing too is as you get those leads, this here is what they have the model, you do the prospecting and the marketing, you capture the leads, but then you also have to stay connected with them and cultivate them. You can't just get a lead and expect them to call you back.
Right.
So you still have to follow up is huge.
That's kind of what I was saying with that guy I met playing golf. We talked a little bit about it. I didn't push it. It's probably time to reach out, start to cultivate it, and then like this would say, make an appointment.
As you get these leads, put them in your database.
Yeah.
There's some leads we do, some we don't, just depending upon what type of leads they are.
It's good to get those reminders if you put them in a plan. Yeah.
Command is huge for that as far as
Yeah.
giving you those reminders.
Mhm.
And then also just cultivating them too. Staying in touch, say if you're gonna follow up in a month, make sure you follow up in a month.
Yep.
And don't let your trash talk in your mind. Like for a long time, I just feel like, oh, they don't want to hear from me again. But I always try to have something I'm bringing to them.
Yep.
Like, oh, I was thinking of you and chatted with one of my colleagues and they thought maybe this would be a good idea for you. Or, here's something I thought you could use.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going down as far as tailor your message and your method here. So as far as the message, you have to match your market. One thing is, as you're having these conversations with people, you need to know what's going on in the market. It's huge. You need to know as far as having those conversations, what is actually happening.
Yep.
You want to be a good resource to people as they are asking you those questions.
Yep, that's why we said, value proposition when we did this last week. Know your market and go preview homes. That's so big. And keep an eye on them. And keep an eye on them. Plug into the office. Keep an eye on the stats that the title's going to give you. You don't have to sell 5 homes a month to know what the market's doing to give a good answer when somebody does ask you that question.
And Coffee Talk is a good resource as well, as far as, every Monday we're coming back talking about what happened to people over the weekend. So if you can plug in a Coffee Talk, let's say Monday mornings at 8:30,
Yep.
we're talking about the market. Bob's running through what the numbers look like as well.
Yep.
Going down. Let's see here. Trying to think if we've already covered most of this.
Kind of.
Yeah. So this is where we had, like we said, as far as why is it best to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? Is something to consider there. How do you market yourself too? I would say, as you're meeting these people, having the conversations, how are you showing up? How is your Facebook looking? It does make a difference as far as, I would say, how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Knowing your scripts.
Yeah, you're going to track what you put out there. So knowing your scripts, showing up presentable, doing your open houses in a presentable way, knocking on doors in a presentable way. How you show up is really going to make a big difference on what you get out of it and who you attract to yourself.
This is where we went through the prospecting methods. We went through that already.
Yeah.
And look at that list. See, maybe make a circle the top 3 that you enjoy the most, or where you have gotten the most leads from.
Yep. Or what makes sense for your business right now. Getting into real estate doesn't make a whole lot. That's why Jim says real estate's the best thing to get into, because if you open a liquor store, you need $500,000 in inventory. Real estate, you need a license and you need your cell phone and 2 feet. So that allows you to get into real estate, and you don't have to go do the radio stuff and the billboards and pay the expensive marketing. All you need is your phone and your feet to get out there and get started and get after it.
Social media is free. Picking up the phone, you can do all that very inexpensive.
Yep. So I think the first one here is
The door knocking.
the door knocking approach. Matt's favorite.
Yeah.
Done it.
It's not.
You're gonna.
It is not his favorite.
So the door knocking
I
approach.
want to talk to people, so none of it's my favorite.
People like talking to you, Matt.
Well,
That's right, that's the mindset to have.
That's right. So for door knocking, obviously you're gonna wanna have some sort of a script. Something, you know, you have in mind to talk about.
See, I love door knocking for open houses, because I always go to the neighbors and say, I just want to invite you to our open house. It doesn't seem so salesy, because a lot of times they think, oh, I'm opening my door, what are you gonna try to sell me? I always just tell them, I just want to invite you to our open house. We always like to give the neighbors first opportunity to pick your neighbors. That way, if you know of anybody who wants to live in the area, you can let them know.
Yeah, you might be curious about the renovations.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that way it's coming from more of a, I want to invite you contribution type thing, and it's not so salesy.
Yeah.
Another thing too is for door knocking, if we have a buyer that wants to live in a certain neighborhood, we've had great luck door knocking that way, as far as, you know, just asking. As far as we have a buyer who would love to live in your neighborhood, I'm just wondering if you or if any neighbors are thinking of selling that you know of. And we've had luck with that getting listings.
Yep, that's one way to approach it, absolutely. The open house is another great approach.
Community events, so that's something as well. If you're hosting a community event, go around and invite people that way with a flyer. That way it gives you that opportunity to have that face-to-face interaction and have a conversation.
I've decided I'm gonna walk around a neighborhood with a mallet in my hand, because this weekend, working the open house, I went to put a flag up. And I was walking back down the street with a mallet in my hand, and a guy driving by stopped and said, "You must be the realtor." And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Cause I don't know anybody else dressed like that would be carrying around a mallet."
Oh, how funny.
So I'm just gonna walk around the neighborhood with a mallet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go, absolutely.
I love it.
I did my first sign with a regular hammer, and then I went out and bought a mallet. It's like carpal tunnels.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
So like this says, number one, know your script, ready your mindset and materials. Like I said, door knocking for me is a huge mindset. If you let one or two bad doors kind of get you down, you just literally have to let it roll off of your back, because if you do it enough, once you do run into one of those good conversations, it just means the world. Somebody's gonna, you know, give you the time to talk to you, and that's what I mean by mindset. You really have to be prepared for those people that just don't want to talk to you, and that's fine. But have the right mindset, and you know, like Katie said, know your script. Knock and step back to create space is huge, especially for a guy. I do think it's a little tougher for guys to door knock, Salvador. You'll run into that. Knock on the door and step off their step. You know, give them some room, kind of turn sideways. That's pretty important as well.
COVID is part of that too, and I think we're all still in that mindset, is you wanna be at least 6 feet away so they're not nervous. I usually have a mask in my pocket or in my hand that I can put on if somebody asks me to,
Yeah.
so.
And COVID really threw a wrench into door knocking, because, you know, one, some people don't want to be bothered, and then two, it's like, what are you doing during COVID? You can't be knocking on doors. So,
We just started again.
yeah,
Yeah.
just started again. And then two, actively listen, come from contribution, which, you know, you'll hear us say all the time. You'll hear Debbie say, you'll hear everybody at Keller Williams, come from contribution. You know, let them know why you're here, let you know about the open house. And sometimes they'll just say, thanks, have a good day, and close the door. Fine, keep moving.
I had one who was another real estate agent and had a great conversation with her. And so asking her if she had any buyers, and told her about our office in Old Town, just because now that she lived in Old Town too. So you never know who you're going to meet.
If they want to have a conversation with you, then you can start asking those good questions. You know, what if you did move, what are you looking for? How can I help you? Can I be of any service to you?
Do you want to know what your home's worth, or?
Yep, those would be good questions to ask right now. Did you know what the market's done in the last 16 months? You know, having that flyer with you, hey, we're gonna sell your neighbor's house for this amount, or we just did, and they're like, wow, it's like, then you can offer, you know, a free CMA to them or something like that. Try to set the plan up.
I was telling them, give you first chance to pick your neighbors, so.
I like that.
And then three is ask for business. You know, I'm a kind of a big proponent of this, and I wasn't when I got into real estate, because I was nervous and unsure of myself, but ask. The answer is always no unless you ask.
If you know of anybody's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, we'd be happy to help them.
Yep. You can ask them and say, you know, if you were to sell your home, do you have somebody that you would call top of mind? Well, not really. Would you mind if I would be that person? Would you give me the opportunity to be that person? If they say no, who cares?
Yeah.
The answer was always no,
Yeah.
right? They were never your client to start with, so if you don't try to make them yours, you're right where you started. And then advance, like Katie said, I try to discreetly take notes because I have like a mind like a goldfish. I will forget things if I don't write them down right away. I'm like get done door knocking, like which house was that? Because it was a really good conversation.
Yes.
So put notes in your phone and then go home, put them in your database. And again, ask to add people to your database.
I know that Andrea has offered, and I kind of forgot about this, but the title company can create a door knocking map for you
Mhm.
that has names,
Oh, sure.
addresses,
Yeah,
space to write, and even like the most efficient path through the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So
Wow. There you
totally
go.
worthwhile. I haven't done it yet, but that seems like a good deal.
That sounds
Yeah.
like something they could put together. They can pull all kinds of information for you. It's huge. But yeah, when I started adding people to my database, and the way I still do it is I ask them, would you mind if I put you in put you in our database just to stay in touch? We're gonna mail you some stuff. I said, I promise I'll never fill up your mailbox with junk.
Mhm.
They always say yes.
There's a neighborhood report through Command or through MLS,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Set up a search once a month.
Yep.
Every day, whatever
Yep.
they want.
You can remind them that your information comes directly from the MLS, not Zillow, where some of the numbers are skewed a little bit. You can say, I can give you direct access to our Denver MLS and give you all the information you need and keep you up to date on real time on what's coming on the market in your neighborhood and what's going on. Because people say, well, yeah, I saw that one listed down there, but I don't know what it looks like inside. Well, do you want to be able to know what it looks like inside? Because I can get you access to all of that. So that's a really good value piece that you can, after you put them in the database, maybe you can go back and make that call and just say, hey, thanks again, and have that conversation with them. All follow-up is good follow-up.
Mhm. Make sure you're doing it.
Yep.
Even if they don't get back to you, try again.
Mhm.
Yeah, until they tell you to stop. Right?
That happens.
All right.
Agent to agent referrals, as you,
Oh, there it is.
yeah. That's another avenue there. You build relationships with agents in other areas. Right now, we just found one in Montrose. I don't know if you saw me on KW group, but just, finding those people you can make connections with in
Yeah.
other areas. If somebody calls you and says, I need an agent in another state, say, I can help you with that. And you have plenty of people that you can reach out to.
Yep. So grow and maximize your agent referral network. I mean, a lot of agents will tell you that referral prospecting is just as important as client prospecting. Make a few calls each day. You can find them through Command. There are social media pages just for agent networks. You can go on there and just reach out to a couple and say, hey, I'm here. I want to be your go-to if you ever have anybody, and vice versa. And maintain those strategic relationships and stay top of mind. I mean, it's the same thing as communicating with your clients. You're just communicating with other agents.
Put them in your database and stay in touch with them.
There's
That way-
insane amount of information about who's moving to Colorado and coming from what states, what areas, what demographics.
I just looked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a ton of information. So where everybody's coming from, I don't know off the top of my head. California, Texas, those areas, Chicago,
Those are
Midwest.
big. Where they're going to from Denver?
No,
is-
where they're,
Right,
oh
but you
yeah,
can do it the other way.
sure,
too.
yep,
Grand Junction is huge.
yeah, Grand
Who
Junction.
would have known? Grand Junction, like there were local places that people are getting out of Denver to get
Yep,
to.
absolutely.
So I hadn't thought of that.
So find those areas and then use those referral networks to reach out and say, hey, if you know anybody, and by the way, if I know of anybody, I'd like to send them your way if you're okay with receiving that business.
Yeah.
They're happy with it.
Yeah.
And then systemize your referral business. Command has the ability to create a tag, and then within a tag, I would think you could do different states, cities, things like that. We have some really good referral partners. We have one in the Springs, because Katie and I don't like to work in the Springs too much. We feel like it's just a little too far for us. We have a great referral partner in the Springs.
Out in Arizona, we do.
Arizona, we do. We've done
South
some.
Carolina,
South Carolina.
where it's been multiple.
I put a feeler out for an agent in Seattle today, and my phone is absolutely blowing up, even though I said, please don't call me or text me. They are. So we'll have a good Seattle agent once we get done with this, because some sellers we met with on Friday nights, they want to go to Seattle. So I said, let me put you in touch with somebody. One, we know they're going to be taken care of. Two, we get that referral. It's not, okay, well, let me know what you do in Seattle, right? You want to be there.
Make sure to have, we have one up in northern Colorado, depending upon the listing, sometimes we do work that area. But also we have somebody that we feel comfortable referring.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a buyer that says, hey, I want to be between Cheyenne and Fort Collins, what's your budget? 1.5, like, cool, I can drive up there for
Yeah.
that.
That's what we think.
What do you approve for? Well, it's first home, condo, townhome, 300, it's like, okay. probably
Or
gonna
for
cost
your
some money.
time, you just have to make sure. it's
Yeah, you gotta
worthwhile.
figure out what's worth your time, it's not about, reeling in the big fish, it's taking care of your time and providing the best service too.
I'd say another thing too is if you don't know the area well, then sometimes it's best to refer it out, just so you're not being a disadvantage to your client there.
So going through one again, what cities people are moving from, where people are moving to, because you can be a resource on both ends. And then build the relationships with your network by adding them to customized touch campaigns within Command, which Chris and Charles will show you how to do, because Katie and I don't do that stuff yet.
We're learning.
We're learning how Command works. Going through. But that's pretty much all with agent referrals. I mean, if you really listen to the mega agents, they are huge proponents on this referral business stuff. I think Kevin calls it mailbox money.
Yeah.
I've read that.
I mean, if you really, and like KW says, what you focus on expands. And that's one thing that really, if you focus on it, it will really, really increase your business. And it's just a nice piece. Yeah. It's just a great piece to have when it says, oh yeah, that referral closed. Bringing you money, okay? So, and then we're gonna jump into, where did she go? She had it on the page. Oh, open house lead generation. So let's take a break and then we'll jump into open house lead generation, because that's fun stuff. If you do it correctly, it's fun. You're closing at Stephanie?
Over at Land Title on Ward. And by the way, you're my contact on you're gonna make a little money. I'm finally making money.
Good work.
Because you're my guy who got me in here. Jordan answered all my questions and I was starting to think
That's
about it.
right.
And I was just a cold call and then I would call with my cousins.
That's right.
Right.
I remember the first night we talked, because we still lived right over here on Cody Street.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I remember talking to you that night, yep.
Aw.
Yeah.
So that's.
So you did sign up under us, that's right.
I did.
Nice
Under you
work.
specifically, so
Oh.
Yeah.
you can put some gas money.
Yeah,
there.
right. Hopefully the office does well this month, we'll have some profit share.
I think it's hard not to. I mean, I revise my numbers just because the prices are going up and up. I mean, I was like having an average of like a sale of 350, but it's close to 550. So how many deals do I have to do this semester or this year?
Semester, the
Oh my
professor.
God, I'm sorry.
For you to cap or what?
Just to make my goal.
Oh, I see.
And it dropped down to 4 or 5 from 10 or 11. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah, with the price point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's sweet.
Keep it at 10 or 11.
Yeah,
the price point
no,
goes up.
I'm motivated. I
Everything
want
else
to,
does.
yeah, for sure.
I love your energy, Stephanie.
Oh, I know you know what? It is starting to click for me. It's just like it's starting to make sense and like I don't just feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm still baby steps. Like I made a block schedule. This is so funny because I knew you would be talking about that in the earlier session. And I was like perfect. And it's too like so I'm gonna do it again. Right?
You
I
did
have
this
bigger
earlier
categories.
today?
I did this over the weekend.
Okay.
Like, what would my perfect schedule be? And of course, I forgot some things, and I made them like, I put down different things that could all go under prospecting.
Yeah.
I could just do prospect. So
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, it's.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You're like, yes, prospecting. And I'm like,
Oh my God, where do I start? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go around my apartment complex because I know there's gonna be some people there that are saving up for a house.
yes.
I'm gonna go to my afternoon appointments.
Your first closing. Are you gonna come back and ring me a bell?
I'll be at I am, and I'm gonna be at the, are you gonna be at the
ribbon cutting. We'll see.
See how long you last.
I gotta drive kids around with your twins,
I
so.
know. I love the pictures of you and all your boys
Oh my
on there.
gosh,
Yeah.
my boys and Facebook, you guys. I did post so much work to doing that. I have
Oh.
no idea what I'm doing.
I don't either, and I am kind of frustrated because I post my business account, but they don't let you just automatically share it with your regular account. And nobody sees my business account. And then I'm like, well, do I invite everybody to look at my business account? And Matt's like, well, I won't do that because I don't want my sphere to see all of your business postings.
Yeah, that's what I
And
said.
that's what Jordan said.
That's what I said.
So
What do you mean?
I make posts on my business page that nobody sees, so then I have to go in and like copy and paste it, put it in my regular account.
Cause you
And then
can't tag
people
from your
see it.
business
You
page.
can't, which is so stupid to me.
I think it's to prevent people from being like spammed.
That's probably.
That'd be
what
like
it
if somebody
is.
at MedVed knew me and did something for selling cars and
Right.
tagged me so all my people would see.
Right, so I had originally thought, could I ask people just to like my business page? And Jordan said, well, I don't wanna do that because then your business page automatically feeds into my page.
So then my clients see her business.
Right, and most of my business things are fun, like Happy World Kissing Day or things like that, but.
So what we've
yeah.
done to eliminate that is two things. Share it
Mhm.
from your personal, because you can share it to your personal page and then it just like a shared post.
I can't share it, that's the problem.
should be able
I have to
to.
cut and paste it.
So I was gonna say that's option two.
Okay, that's what I've been doing, just for a few of them, not all of them.
Because you already have the picture saved, right?
Yeah,
And then you just copy and paste, but you should be able to share
I know.
from your business page.
I'm
Interesting.
impossible. I can share to my other pages, I can't share to my regular account.
Let me see.
So, what's the point of the business page then?
Yeah, and when I first
Makes
opened
me
it, I'm like,
crazy.
please like it, and so, a couple dozen people
Just to
did
have
it.
it, somebody, I think if the general
Great.
public is searching,
Yes.
then what's
okay.
on your business page,
So if
But
you
then
go to a
otherwise.
post,
Let me
Okay,
show you the
And then now.
reverse.
yes, please.
So cleaning has a pager of 101.7, which is not very good.
So let me show you.
What?
A little girl has a pager. The nanny was calling, and I've never seen her, like call before.
Okay.
So if you go to your RE Colorado,
And here's a recent post, right?
there you go.
Right, so I can share.
Oh, is she okay? I hate
She
that.
will.
She's probably getting
Okay, you
teased,
share your
huh?
page?
when we just took her
So
pacifier
I
away
can
last
share to the
night,
page, but
so
my regular one.
she
isn't
did
page.
cry a lot,
Kidding.
and we're like, maybe she's just tired from that. I was like, put her
So
on
there's
and see
no,
how she
there's no
does.
option to share back to my personal account.
So let me see.
On.
Hi, sounds like the open house was a success.
Oh,
Good.
yeah, it was really fun. Did you get your purpose line? Yeah. Okay, good.
So then you go to Matrix.
So I go to one of our recent.
So you just go up to, so you can do it two ways. One, my active listings, it's right here already.
Share, like
This little
post.
box, and then do reverse prospect.
Oh.
It will tell you
Yeah,
as
so
far as
share.
buyers that have liked it.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
But I don't
these
get
are all
any
people
posts. I
that
don't get-
have
I don't
fit
get any options to
criteria
do
for
that.
buyers. So you can always send out an email, and say, oh, I see I have a buyer that fits
So
the
right
criteria
now,
for listing.
If you
And
hit
these are
this drop
agents that
down
have
right here,
searches set up.
So that's.
So I wanna let you know we
Go
just
to
did a
that
price
one. So now
correction,
you're
we
interacting
listed
with
here,
you.
here's the link,
Now
and then you
share.
can put the I do a copy paste email and then change out the,
Share
you
now.
can reach out to people that way.
So
Good
this is,
email.
okay.
So now
Oh,
you're
so
blank
interacting.
copy everybody on it, or like you
Now
white
you're
out the
interacting.
email.
Yeah.
Easier.
And then-
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And then, like, I don't know if you've noticed, like, it has
So now you
all
should
those
be able to
things.
share your
So
stuff.
that's
Instead
what
of
it was. It was
showing on
making me
your-
curious, how is this not an option?
Or you can just copy and
Double
paste
up
it.
if that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because then you can reach out to them and say, I see that you have a buyer that hearted our listing, so then you can see which
Yeah,
ones hearted it.
absolutely.
Right, see, that's you.
Wait.
There you go.
Okay, proposition is all I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
There you go.
Okay, my matrix. Yay.
So yeah, it's just that with the active listings, you just reverse prospect and you can see it.
That's genius. Okay, I'm so excited. Thank you. Okay, what'd you figure out about the Facebook? You
I
gonna
just
teach
had
me,
to,
Stephanie?
yes, I had to be in the proper setting, like I hadn't pressed my personal page photograph to make it so I could share. I'll show you something.
Okay,
I will show you.
okay, I'm gonna get into Facebook so you can show me now. Best way to learn is to teach,
Oh,
right?
or to do.
Professora.
My sister called me Dr. Proctor
Oh.
when I got mine, yeah. So that was her joke. She thought it was hilarious. She told strangers. Yes, we're not really an archaeologist, I'm not a historian, but whatever you say. Okay, so get into your business page.
Okay.
Are you gonna show Mara how to do it now?
Yeah, she is.
So go to one of your recent posts. And you might already be set up this way, but I wasn't, so keep going down. But this post here, so hit down below, share. Okay, and you're not getting the opportunity to share back to your regular page. But go up here, there's your business profile, go to your personal picture. And now, when you hit, now go down, oh, so now are you in your personal page? No?
No, this is still my business.
Okay,
page.
so go to that same posting
Mhm.
and hit share. And now you can share now to your friends. And so it just opens up your options because you've now gone to your personal site, which has all these options.
You have to be on your business page interacting as yourself to share it to your personal page.
See, does that make sense?
Yes, okay, so now if I put this on, this will go to the top of my
Your
personal
regular
page.
It's gonna be so much easier now.
Oh, wow, share now, thank you, and I don't have to do that again.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I hope not.
share now, okay, to my friends. Facebook,
You can share it to your
Facebook.
friends, to your business feed, whatever it is.
Total strangers, you wonder who the hell you are.
Totally, yeah.
All right, I had fish for lunch, so I've gotta get some gum.
I have food right here, are you leaving?
I was gonna go get some. Man, see,
See, ask and you shall receive.
Craziest.
Would you like to do this?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
All right, everybody, hope to see you at the ribbon cutting. If not, I'll see you. Are you gonna come for the witness
Yeah,
week?
Yeah, she does, and then-
Yeah,
Get my
I was
butt out.
on last week,
I know,
so,
but it's really, it's like,
She has a feed of that one, my mom.
good luck. Take pictures
Playing with it.
of the bell too.
Oh, it might be borderline.
Is Christy coming in?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
You can zoom in.
Baby needs you.
What's that?
Your baby needs you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which one of us is gonna go.
Yeah, Rochambeau.
Right before he went and won the game, so that was cool. But,
I like the Ulster page because
Did you find any links to that?
it's really exciting.
well, the cool thing that I never kind of realized is there's so many people who have a stake.
Can you go get
from
pacifiers?
Colorado.
Can we have that?
Hit the blue one.
Yeah, one of those niche
Yeah,
shoes, yeah, it's like a little
Same size somewhere.
I thought you were telling her where to go find one.
Well, it's those old fashioned ones. I went there, I was in school in Boston, ended up to a family.
I'm really tired.
You do, and sometimes there's a post in front of you.
Yes, and I had a guy come to me
It's
from
in there.
Boston and he's
Let
like,
us
"You're
know how she does
I
with
was
her
like,
hand.
"Hey," and he's like, "You're gonna let us in?" And I was like, I need a ticket. He's like, what, Boston lets us go in after the seventh inning, and I was like, what?
So you can walk around the whole outside.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I'm shocked the Coors doesn't do that, but that's, that's the problem, Coors deal with the Rockies, is that the management doesn't have a great stadium, so no matter what, people are always gonna come. And so you see they can get rid of their players like Nolan Arenado and not have to do anything about it.
Those bastards. This is where my knowledge of sports.
So, yeah, so just keep doing it.
They just signed a high school player from.
I saw that, the outfielder. But,
He's still in high school.
is he?
Does anybody have any questions so far?
Great, like, see.
Because they're treated.
Let's see, we still have
What is the?
open houses.
Social
media.
Great. Yeah, I'm liquor store for the
Grand Rose.
No, reading class.
Have them in here?
Yeah.
Where was the last place that you put them?
Right here.
That's my mom always does. Where's the last place that you had
Right
them?
here.
Well, mom,
On my
thanks.
face, Charles, they're on my face.
You guys teaching another, class?
Another command one, negative.
Negative.
Got it.
That's why we're meeting with you about command today, hopefully.
Hopefully.
If not, can we do Zoom?
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
We got a sick kiddo, we'll have to see.
Yeah, if you wanna cancel, we can cancel and move to a different day, I hurt my feelings.
We're delaying our process if we cancel. We gotta get stuff moved over so we can stop paying for market rate.
So, yeah. Yes.
Because we gotta figure out who's to blow out, or do we blow any of them out, or we're both rainmakers now.
Mhm.
So we gotta figure out if Katie wants to do like a neighborhood nurture. It comes from Katie.
And then yours, they come from you.
But what if you're both? What if you're in both of our commands? If I set it up, it comes from me. If she sets it up, it comes from her.
I won't let you double, duplicate, entry on the team.
Because we want, just like a market leader, we just want one login.
Mhm.
We go in and make whatever changes we feel is necessary.
Yeah, but if the team owns everything, you guys will both be able to go edit whatever you want to edit with your own commands.
So if I log in, I have the same access to contacts as she does.
As long as you say that the team owns it, yes. So Katie's contact team owns it, your contact team owns it.
Got it. Should be pretty simple.
Yeah. There's a lot of admin.
Just with the notes, right? And then you have to pair.
Well, they'll be uploading it, they'll be assigning it, they're gonna be going through your database and cleaning it up and
Right.
making sure that, in theory, what should happen is they should make sure that you have your name, phone number, email, address, and birthday.
Right.
And then that gives you guys a lot of power with what you do with your 36 touch.
Right.
Let me see what happens from there.
We should have people who go in first, and then we'll tag it and start getting real detailed with it. About 130 or 149 the market leader in one case.
Yeah,
There's
so
120, maybe it's 120.
All right, should we get started back up again?
Yep, I think Stephanie took off.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to move on to open houses. I know we touched base a little bit about it. We'll get on your sheet as well.
Open house and lead generation, is that what you're looking at? Yep.
All right. The model for open houses is preparing. So it used to be with COVID, we had different open house procedures, but now it's opening back up. But the coaching program, I have to say, does a fantastic job reaching out and to holding open the homes that within our office here. Say, for instance, if our office doesn't have homes to hold open, there's other agents you can reach out to as well.
Yep.
So I would say making sure that you prepare is huge. Know the neighborhood before you host an open house. Knowing what other homes have sold, because if somebody comes in your open house and they say, you know what homes typically sell for in this neighborhood, you have no idea. Make sure you know the market within that neighborhood. And then also, like we've talked about, go door knocking for the open houses. You're trying to get listing leads out of the open houses, so make sure it's effective.
Yep, like this says, you know, you can do for open house marketing, you have before, during, and after. And what you'll see a lot of there is your database you can market to. You can call your database and say, hey, I'm having an open house this week and I know you're in the area. Why don't you come by? It'd be great to see you. You can do things like that. So before, you can call your database, go see the neighbors, nearby renters. We talked about a door knocking piece. However many you want to knock is completely up to you. If you want to knock five. I would suggest more than that. Or maybe just, you know, print out, gosh, how many do we do? Maybe
It just
100? It
depends.
just depends.
Yeah, as I say, it just depends. We usually try to do the one street over from each way, or if you want to do 2 streets over, you know, just around that general house.
Yep.
We feel like you have to door knock the whole neighborhood, but at least around the open house where the neighbors are.
So you're gonna go and you're gonna just invite them to the open house. It says ask for referrals. If you're having a good conversation, you can definitely ask for referrals. If not, maybe see if they show up to the open house or cultivate that a little bit more. And then before, call, email, text, social media, door knocking. You know, if you're part of a neighborhood Facebook group and you're doing an open house in there, use it. you might get in trouble with the admin, but use that. You can certainly pay for a list of phone numbers in a neighborhood. They have, I think land title can do that.
We can.
They can print you a phone number list for the houses. You can call for your open house. And then again, door knock. Go knock on those doors with the marketing piece, and then you go to during. How do you market it? You have the face-to-face visitors. You can get appointments there. You can ask for referrals again with face-to-face people walking in. And
You'd be surprised how many neighbors come in, they're like, well, I wonder how much my house is worth. And say, I'm happy to do a free market analysis for you.
Yep.
Just that way give you an idea of what we could sell your house for after seeing it.
Yep. And it says talk, build rapport, and that's really all it means. You know, something Katie and I, we always like to ask is, hey, how'd you find us today? Did you find us online or did you see our signs? And I would say 90% of the people are gonna say, I found you online. Not a lot of people are just driving around. It's just not the world we live in anymore. They're just driving around and, hey, we got time for an open house, let's go see it. But that's a good way to start a conversation. And, you know, just depending on their answers is really where you let that conversation go. And then if you do have a really good conversation with somebody and they're not already working with somebody, you can ask them, you know, can I reach out to you? Can I touch base? And you can write them a handwritten note. You can add them to a smart plan. And try to get their information that way. Hey, I know this house isn't going to work out for you, but my team lists quite a few homes each month, and you can refer to your team as the office. We list quite a few homes each month. I bet we have something coming on that'll fit your needs. You know, what are your needs? And have those conversations and ask them, if I see something I think you're interested in, could I reach out to you? I have to sneeze.
Listen.
I won't do it too loud. No,
Scared it away.
you scared it away. So there's a lot of good conversations you can be having at open houses.
So yeah, the model for open houses, it's the prepare, prospect, and pursue. So going down to the prospecting, as far as adding those contacts, as far as if you have great conversations with neighbors, put them into your command there. Add them as contacts and add those tags.
Yep.
That we can cultivate, and if they say, hey, we're thinking about moving in the next years, you know, be on their radar.
Ooh, it even says here, if you violate the TCPA and the National Do Not Call registry, you face potential catastrophic vehicle damages. So there you go. Watch out for that that Do Not Call list.
Commercial.
I know, right? That's kind of scary. So this is just talking about the preparation.
For preparation. Okay.
Talking about just like the schedule, I think that's on your guys' page.
To be-
8.
What is host a speaker, offer a gift? What is that?
Yeah. So these are all kinds of fun things you can do to get people to come to your open house. You can do like a
Used to be-
themed open house.
Yeah, I know Nikki and Amanda recently did this, but we did one too. We did Kentucky Derby. So as far as we kind of made it a themed one, if there's something going on for that weekend, I don't know, as far as, a lot of times they say host a speaker. I don't know as far as
I don't know about that.
yeah. I would say it just depends on certain homes too, and neighborhoods. Offer gift, I would say, you know, just have some kind of something that they can leave with. It doesn't have to be like a gift, but one thing that we used to do is have a raffle. We used to, like, say if it was Easter, have a guess the jelly beans, and then people are writing down their information that way.
Yep.
That way we try to capture leads where we had their contact info, but then also they had a chance to win something.
Yeah, it's like a $25 Starbucks gift card or Amazon or something like that.
Mhm. Like, so sometimes, or like, for instance, if you have pins made up or anything that has your material with, it doesn't, offering something, a lot of times we usually have cookies or just, I know that's something that they'll eat. But if you can leave them with something with your contact info, even better.
And offer a gift, and you can take that as far as not even at the open house, before that, when you talk about your marketing, like it, share it, and you'll be entered to win this. That way people are sharing your open house information on social media.
Yes.
Yep.
Get
So
the house in showing shape. I know sometimes that's tough if it's not your listing. But yeah, as far as get there early, make sure all the lights are on, make sure as far as, you know, if it's a really hot day, turn on the air conditioning. Especially if it's a vacant home. But make sure that you get there early enough and make sure that the house is ready to go for your open house. It used to be where we used to bake our cookies there, so then that was the whole, then that way the house, when they walked in, it smelled like fresh baked cookies, and just have to make sure to remember to take them out of the oven so you're not burning them. So I had some close calls.
It smelled good though.
Yeah. And then just going live, I'd say marketing your open house is huge.
Yeah, make sure you put your open house in the MLS, because that's how it gets kicked out to Zillow.
Yeah.
And you get people there that way. So this talks about
Going on to social media.
prospecting on social media. So for us, what we do,
This might be, I think this is separate from open houses.
what is marketing your open house?
Mm-mm. So now this is on the social media
Oh,
piece.
so there is a plan here, and that's on page, I think that's page 8 for you guys. You know, yes, make a plan, seriously, make a plan for your open house, because your week will get away from you. You really need to start marketing it kind of early. This says Monday. Tuesday, post online, generate call lists and call 25 neighbors. Or that could be your door knocking day. But keep posting it online up until the day of it. Because if you're gonna do an open house, you might as well take the time to market it correctly as well. So
Always
kinda-
buddy up for an open house too. I'm sure that they've gone over this with you as well, but that's just how you can be most effective. If you're having a great conversation with somebody, you don't have to leave that to greet someone else. So always buddy up, and then just from a safety standpoint too.
Mhm.
And then you have a blank preparation for what that looks like. Because each one's gonna be a little bit different. Like for us, it doesn't make sense to on Monday, call 25 neighbors, because we're gonna go knock those 25 doors on like Friday if the open house is Saturday. Something like
You're
that.
not the day before.
Yeah, or a couple days before, that way people can plan for it.
True.
You know, if you're there about an hour early, it's like, well, we're getting ready to leave for the day, sorry.
Yeah.
So we usually do it the day before.
Makes sense.
Yep. And then, obviously throughout the week goes, if you have a social media schedule, start getting your stuff out on social media. You know, do something maybe Monday or Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday rolls around, say, don't forget, reshare your posts, something like that.
And if you're hosting it for another weekend, you can always do your lead follow-up on Monday, Tuesday from.
Yep. And then this next page here, that goes to page 10 here, and again, proactively promote your open house. That's what I was saying, is continuously promote it there, and obviously by putting out signs and door knocking as well. Build rapport with guests and establish relationships. But I like number 3, qualify leads by asking probing questions. One thing after we ask, how'd you find us today? Usually they'll give you an answer right there and said, my realtor sent it to me. Okay, now I know you're working with somebody. If they say, we just saw your sign, it's like, oh, okay, great.
You can always take it a step further too. They may say that just because they don't want to try to have you bother them. Say, oh, I may know them. Who are you working with? So you can always say, yeah, that's always one way to take it a step further. Sometimes people will lie.
So, you know, what are probing questions? Probing questions, they're the open-ended questions, right? They require more than a yes or no response. So, you know, how long have you been looking for a home? What areas of town are you looking for a home? Is it over here specifically? You know, what's most important to you when you're looking for a home? What
Where are you
else?
moving from?
Yeah,
Find out what motivating factors. Oh, you know, I just had hip replacement, and so I need some main floor master.
Yep.
Find out as far as what may be more motivating for them to move, and then that way you can lead to conversations. I actually know of a great ranch that's going to be coming on the market.
Yep.
Right.
Do you have a house to sell?
Yep.
Yeah. My lease is up in a month.
Mm-hmm.
gotta get moving.
Woo!
So yeah, you can definitely, there's a list of really good questions you can ask people, and then you kind of figure out, are they worth pursuing, or are they worth not pursuing? And then again, provide value to them. If they allow you to get their information, ask them if you can put them in the database, then you can start providing them the information. And, you know, tell them why it's important that they're going into your database, what you're going to provide to them. You know, I understand this house doesn't work for you, but if you want to know as soon as, you know, something else comes on in the neighborhood, let me add you to this, because if you wait a day or two in this market, you may not get an opportunity. They see some value. Okay.
Now we're on to the social media. This is the
Okay.
last piece of this one. Any questions before we start? I guess I have a question. Is everybody on Facebook or Instagram, or has at least one source of social media
MySpace.
outlet? MySpace.
Everybody remember MySpace?
Yeah.
That was,
No.
I still have an account somewhere out there probably.
Yes.
So everybody has some sort of social media they use?
because the thing is to select at least one avenue. There's so many different outlets out there, and so if you don't, you have to find what you like, and then do it well. Be consistent with it. That's another thing, is consistency is huge. For us, as I mentioned, Facebook is our avenue. We have had more business come from our personal page versus our business page, but we do still have both. And there's different reasons for I would say, reasons why we keep both of them.
Yeah.
We could do better with our business page. I think business there is if somebody's Googling you and they go to your Facebook page, see what you're posting there. Personal is more your sphere, people you know, and then you have to be strategic on how you post, when to post, what to post, and how you brand yourself.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. So so if you jump to page, looks like this is on page 11 to start off. You select a social media strategy. You're going to want to figure out what platforms work for you. Some people, Facebook isn't their thing. Maybe it's, I don't know, Snapchat or TikTok, whatever that is. There's also LinkedIn that I know people use. Whatever platform you want to use, that's fine. You just pick that. So it doesn't have to be, whatever we use or whatever the next agent uses. It's what you like to use and where your database is.
that's exactly where a lot of our sphere and database is that on Facebook and Instagram. We have people that aren't on Facebook, so we try to post in both places if we can.
Yep. The next thing you want to come up with is a schedule for posts. There's a lot of good content for that on YouTube on how to, what to post and when to post it. I mean, it's studied right down to like the time of day that you should be posting. And then also the different types of content. You don't want to be just constantly posting, open house, I'm showing houses. It can't all be business, because eventually people will unfollow you.
Right.
You need to really find, for us, we've tried to find that sweet spot of people knowing that we're in real estate, but also know who we are. And we'll do some business posts, but we'll also take pictures of our kids and our dogs and us at country concerts on Saturday nights, because they want to know that we're human.
Right.
They want to know you're working with a human being, but you're also able to say, hey, we just closed on this beautiful home in Spring Mesa. Let me know if I can help you. And they say, oh, wow, Mara also sells badass homes. Cool, I didn't know that about Mara. Now I do.
Yeah.
That's
Also just showing them that you're doing real estate activities, like we mentioned in Coffee Talk today, let people know about our grand opening, or not our grand opening, our ribbon cutting tonight, just because it's something to promote as far as your real estate office that you're in. It's not so real estate in your face.
Yeah, real estate activities, and be careful what you post as well. We there for a while, the big fad was, oh, I was showing this home. I can't believe somebody would have this in their home. Katie and I would never do that, because you can't come out positive by saying bad things about other people, especially being in their home. It was really weird.
Did that?
Yes, it was kind of a thing for a while.
You don't want to make as I say, you don't want to put someone else down or another seller's home.
Well, yeah, and then it's like if somebody sees that, what are you going to come do that about my house too? Right? So be careful. Be careful what you do on there. Always come off in a positive way. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I feel strongly about one way or another, but I don't air that out on social media, because you have, you are who you are in person, you are who you are online. People are rolling through your Facebook and saying negative this or really geared towards one thing. You may turn some people off. So keep it light, keep it positive, keep it refreshing, keep it heartfelt. And that's where that schedule really comes in, because you can do business maybe once or twice a week, but then you have some heartfelt stuff, some funny stuff. Maybe it's sitting out back drinking a glass of wine because people know you're human and you had a day, right? So creating it, and then that's creating that social media presence for your page. This says business page, and then also what this allows you to do is create drafts of posts you want to schedule. You can sit down for a few hours each day and knock out all your posts for the week and schedule them. We use our business page, like Katie said, we do use our business page, just not as much as our personal page. And that's just how it's worked for us. We know some realtors, they use their business page strictly and that's it, and it works well for them. So you kind of have to figure, and I think that's a lot to do with the fact that Katie and I were like ground zero for Facebook because we were right at that age when it came out. So, you know, it's just where all of our friends are. So that's why it's worked out that way for us.
And one thing with social media too is as you're working with people, ask them, say, can I add you on Facebook? Because you would be surprised. A lot of times say, when we had that buyer consultation, say, oh, I'm gonna find you on Facebook just because we're posting upcoming listings or sharing listings of other agents. But then once you do find them that home and they're going through the process and they close on it, they are just on cloud nine, and then they're the ones who are tagging you in it and posting picture, and then they're actually advertising for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they're your friends. They should be your friends if you're going through a real estate transaction.
And it helps stay in
For the most
touch with your
part.
clients too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that way, you know, like, oh, they did just have a baby, or you can send them a card or a gift, or, you know, you know what's going on in their lives
you
too.
can like their stuff and you can engage in them because that's what social media was built for, is so we could use it for self-gratification. So use it. See somebody got a new puppy or somebody got a new job or something like that, and comment and stay in touch with them.
And one thing too is you want to make sure that you're not just expecting everybody to be liking and commenting on your page. You have to be interactive with it as well and commenting on others.
So then 2, Facebook allows you to seek prospects. This is not really something that we personally do to seek prospects on Facebook. Ours is more word of mouth, referral, things like that. But Facebook does allow you to pick certain areas and certain demographics to go after. There's a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's, you know, they do kind of track what people are after, so that way you can effectively market to those demographics, those areas. Who's searching for this? Who's looking for a new lender? Who's thinking about making a move? Things like that. Okay. And then 3, share it. Post your content, share other people's things that are heartfelt and meaningful to you. Let people get an idea of who you are and what you stand for through your social media, and be something that they enjoy seeing when you post. Okay. Again, schedule them ahead of time. It makes a huge difference.
This is for your business page that you can. Unfortunately, personal page you can't.
What?
Schedule your post ahead of time. Yeah. But so that's for the business page.
Right. And like I just helped Stephanie figure out, who showed you, you cannot tag yourself, or you cannot tag anybody on your business page. And that's, again, to prevent people from being tagged in stuff they don't want to be tagged in for marketing purposes. But you can do 2 things, and we do a little bit of both. And I can't figure out why we do a little bit of both. There's no science to it. You can, as long as you're interacting from your personal page, you can share it to your personal page, your business post, or you can just copy and paste it, which we've done a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any right or wrong way, but that's definitely something you can do. You can share it to your personal page from your business page. Maybe you do a post on your business page on Monday, and then you wait till Tuesday, and then share it to your personal page with a different hashtag or a different tagline.
Just because the people that have already liked your business page may already be your friend, and they're not being bombarded with real estate posts.
Right. And if your other realtor friends don't like your business page, don't be upset. Because like I told Stephanie, I said, I'm not going to like your business page, because whatever you post, then my friends will see that because I like your page. And I don't want to be promoting any other realtors except for Katie and myself. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're here to help each other. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. For service, this is huge. Communicate with people who interact with your posts. Charles will tell you, don't post and ghost. If you post something and somebody comments, comment back. If they like yours, like that they liked your post. Katie has a really good tactic. I'll let her talk about how she does that too, though.
I sometimes wait to comment just because then it will bring it back up in the news feed more. So if I do let some time go, then I'm commenting on again, then it brings it back up into people's news feed to try to get it.
Those active posts that have a lot of interaction, they just never go away, right?
Yeah.
They keep showing back up.
Yeah.
So the way to make that work is, as people comment, don't respond to everybody at once. Respond, let a few hours go by, respond to somebody else, let a few hours, and then it just keeps coming back up. People keep seeing it.
It's like when somebody likes a photo and you're like, why is this in my news feed when it's so old? It's because somebody else has interacted with it.
Respond to inquiries in a timely manner. I mean, right? If somebody texts you and says, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house, get back to them ASAP. Say, hey, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Same with messages via social media. Acknowledge reactions. Like I said, interact with people. Send private follow-up messages. I've gotten a lot of business from Facebook messaging. That's kind of when I got into real estate. I really had to reach far and deep to prospect, because my friends and family, they already knew Kate using real estate. So I really started deep in reaching out to old family friends, old high school friends, old middle school and elementary friends, and have gotten a fair amount of business from it. So use Facebook posts, and then use the information at hand, like we said. Hey, I saw you just had a baby last year. Congratulations. I hope you're doing well. If there's anything I can ever do to help, please let me know. And some people just won't respond, and some people will say, hey, I've been thinking about buying, I'll be ready here in a few months. Great. Can I touch base with you and just keep it? Yeah, absolutely. So there's just a whole lot of opportunity there. Return the like. Yeah, that's a big one. It's huge.
Like I said, on the slide that you guys are seeing right now, the be prospecting based, marketing enhanced for the social media part, 20% business, 80% personal. We're very strategic as far as mixing it up and why we post what we post at certain times. You don't want to be posting at 1 a.m. because everybody's sleeping, and a lot of the times it'll get missed in the news feed.
Right.
So as far as being effective with your posts too, if you're going to put the time into it.
Right. And like Katie and I, we're fortunate enough. We do just listed, under contract, closed, because we're fortunate. We have an established business. Don't think because you don't have just closed and just listeds that you can't have good content out there showing that you're in real estate. There's so much you can do.
Even if you take a picture of your coffee order, like, oh, gotta get my coffee in before I hit the road showing homes today, or people know you're out showing homes.
Take a picture of your desk and say, working on a couple CMAs today. What's your homework or something like that?
That's a good one.
Don't use it. I'm gonna use it later. I'm kidding. Take pictures. Like if you're showing a nice house, or if you're previewing homes, like you should.
With a view, like wow, look at these views.
There's so much. There's so much you can post. There's so much.
People know you're doing real estate related activities without actually being just listed.
Take a picture of the building on your way back and say, headed out for a quick lunch. Love this new location. You know what I mean? Anything like that. That way people know you're in real estate. Luckily for us, like I said, we have some content there that we can use, but we try not to be too crazy with it.
Sometimes we don't post certain things just because that way we're not so in the face of people.
Right.
And that we don't want people to unfollow us either.
So we try to do just listed, under contract, and sold. Like those are our 3 big ones. And there's times when it's just like, just don't say anything, because we just did one. We're fortunate, but we don't want to overwhelm people with that, because eventually they're just like, all right.
And celebrate closings too, but one thing I learned is always make sure to ask, because sometimes buyers may not want it to be on Facebook. So I always ask them, say, if you want it, I'll let you do your post first. I just ask if you wouldn't mind tagging me in it, or because sometimes if you're the first one to do it, for instance, I have one where the parents were helping a sibling buy the home, and I asked if we took a picture and everything at closing, do you care if I put it on Facebook? And they're actually, we would prefer you didn't, because we don't want them to know we helped them buy this, or so just make sure too
we don't want our kids to know we have a favorite sibling.
Yeah. So you never know the dynamic too, as far as just make sure to ask, just to be courteous.
Yeah, some people, they, don't steal my thunder. It's like wedding stuff. It's like, don't post any wedding stuff until we do, right? It's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing, so.
Yeah. Just be careful, but ask them too, if you're taking a picture at closing, do you care if I post it? Is this something you want to post, or?
Yep. And as soon as they post it, like Kate said, even if they tag you, that's the best.
That's even
right?
better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any questions about social media before we move on? Nope.
A lot of opportunity there, guys.
Well, and a friend of mine said it best. It's just a way for people to feel like they know you. And then they're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we talked
Absolutely.
about this in the value proposition class, but you'd be surprised how many people Facebook stalk you before they meet with you. So, or that you should be doing the same for your clients. Maybe that way you can be building connections ahead of time, knowing what they're liking, not liking. If they are from a certain area, you can build those connections ahead of time.
Yep. It's just free information.
It is. Take action and develop your plan. So this is going to be the next section here. For prospecting to your strengths.
So what do you guys feel your prospecting strengths are? Because like we said, like when I got done with Ignite, when I did it 4 years ago, it was like, oh my gosh, I have to cold call and I have to be on the internet and I have to go knock doors and I don't know when I'm gonna have time for lunch. Pick one or two. What do you guys think you'd be best at?
For right now, for me, it's open houses just because I've thrown myself into that and I'm doing one almost every weekend.
Are you door knocking those open
Better.
houses?
I have started to.
Yeah.
I have started to, yeah.
Yep.
Initially, I was not, and I have started to.
Yeah. Go do it. Go see you can have those good relationships with, good conversations with people because they're tough to find. And if you're weird like me, you like a challenge like that.
With your mallet in hand.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Take your mallet.
I love
How about
that.
you, Sharon?
I'm really excited to try social events because my husband is he loves staying at home and I like being social, so this is actually something really good for me to go out and meet people and have fun and honestly enjoy my work.
There you go.
Good. You have to love what you do.
That's right. How about you, Ashley? Are you still there?
I'm still here. I don't know why my camera's not. Oh,
No worries.
come on. Okay, there we go. My little screen cover was over it and I had no idea, so sorry. I think I'm kind of similar to Katie in the sense that I prefer to be face to face with people, and I think that'll definitely be beneficial. Open houses, networking events, that kind of stuff. So I think that'll be where I shine, and social media also.
Good.
Yeah.
Mara, what do you think? What do you think's your fit?
Same. I mean, I had a lot of fun, like I said, walking around, door knocking, but I didn't really door knock because people were outside. So
Oh, yeah.
that was fun. Events.
Yeah.
Our little food truck is fun and.
It's killer.
We'll see.
It's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'd say, go through the list and find out one that you like to do or what your strength is what's most effective. And for your time too. I would say pick your top 5 there. It's 80% got 90% of their business from 5 sources or less.
Yep.
We go back through ours every year and say, where did that source come from? And it's either repeat or referral clients. And then once in a while, I would say we have new business or open houses.
Yep, absolutely.
That's where ours come from.
Yep. Have you guys done any activities you've had success with yet?
I'd say open house for you.
Yeah.
Open house?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've got lots of leads that I can just keep following and
Yeah, just keep calling.
one day, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I would say definitely your food trucks. Sherry told me as far as the one that you guys went on, they had your food truck postcard.
Yeah. That was a great meeting.
Yeah.
You heard the end result, right?
You can't help other agents buying the home.
That's half the battle, just getting in the door.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
good practice, for
Yep,
sure.
that's awesome. So yeah, what you can do, so I don't know if we have to do that right now, but go through and figure out what you think is gonna work for you and then make a plan, right? If you don't think cold calling is gonna work for you, don't put that at the top of your list. And don't say, make 20 cold calls this week, because that's not what's gonna work for you. It may be listing lead sources, maybe social media, and you prioritize it to 4 posts a week and 10 or 15 comments on somebody else's, whatever they're posting as well. Same with, an event. If there's some sort of an event you want to do, or food trucks in your neighborhood, or bring the ice cream truck out, things like that.
Mhm.
You can call for sale by owners if you'd like. I don't like calling for sale by owners.
You never know. But then if you say if it doesn't work out, maybe you'll be that first agent of choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Half of it's just timing.
I've heard I've never tried this, but I've heard of agents who have reached out to for sale by owners and wanted to do an open house for them. Say, let me try to find you a buyer. I'd say it depends on the person for that.
Right, or you can call for sale by owner and say, hey, I get it, you don't want any help listing your home, but you have to move somewhere. I can represent you for free in Colorado because obviously you know who pays the commission. Can I help you find your next home?
Oh,
Or can I refer you somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
Never really used it, but makes sense to me. Because I don't call for sale by owners, but somebody told me that one time and I was like, if I ever decide to call for sale by owners, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
I will use that.
So this is take action, develop your plan, prioritize your lead generation efforts. So you list them, prioritize them, and then focus on what's working.
And like Katie said, there's a few, like for us, there's different things that we like to do depending on the situation. My goal is to make 5 contacts a day. And it doesn't necessarily mean that's FSBOs or cold calling anybody. It could be 5 touches on Facebook. It could be, really should be 5 touches on Facebook, 5 from our database, is really what it should be. But whatever it is, make a plan and stay consistent with it.
I'll be honest, we don't have set times that we do this. It varies upon day. They say you're most effective lead generating in the morning, just with your energy levels, but find what works for you as long as you do it.
Yep.
But the problem is people say, I'll do it this afternoon, and then something else comes up, and then you now haven't done it.
Yep.
So.
Time blocking's huge. We do our best. We also have 2 little kids that are always sick and one thing or another going on.
My friends.
So we do our best to stay consistent with our time for it. But if you really can, I mean, the numbers don't lie. It's the people that time block it. They do their 10 contacts from 9 to 11. All those people do well. Like if you listen to any leader, anybody that's successful in business, not only Gary Keller, but Gary Vee and Brad Lee, anybody who's ever been successful in sales, like there's no magic to it. They all say the same thing. Time block it, call your leads, make appointments.
And one thing too is we're talking about making those contacts where we're reaching out to people. We also passively contact them. So we try to do the people that are in our database, we try to mail to them at least once a month to stay, and not that you have to, even if you do it quarterly, but then that's where we have passively stayed in touch, just expecting to stay in front of them if they open their mail, but you can't always rely on that.
Yep.
Try to send them something of value that maybe has, that they'll hold on to. Like our big thing is we do a calendar once a year, hoping that they'll keep that, and our contact and our info's on each page.
We do 3 newsletters, and then the 4th one's the calendar, but 3 newsletters, we do scratch pads, and people love our scratch pads. You go to their house, it's hanging on their fridge. What'd they say Friday night? We have never had to buy a notebook or a notepad because we have so many of them. And then we write our own newsletter and we do a market update and we let them know what's going on with homes we've sold and what the Denver market's doing overall. We try to provide, like Kathy will do a recipe for baking and I'll do a recipe for some stuff that I like to make. And this year I went and found Colorado Free Days and just made my own Colorado Free Days to mail out to them this spring. So something of some value that they'll keep around. And then the sports schedules we do as well. So that's the passive side of prospecting there. What
I'm trying to
else?
think, yep, I was just saying now this is the activity part where you guys develop your prospecting plan. And
Homework.
something, it might be something too that you're gonna have to think about and look at where your leads have come from before.
Yeah. You guys have any questions or do you want to touch on, we have about 10 minutes left. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on or
Ask questions.
ask questions? We're happy to share whatever we can. There's no secrets with us.
Yes. I can tell stories too.
Yeah.
Actually, like thinking of prospecting, always have that mentality that you're in real estate because you never know where you're going to find a business. There's been times where we were at the Las Vegas airport and our flight was delayed and the Bronco game was on. We ended up sharing a table with somebody just because there was no tables left. Well, they were flying back to Denver as well, and we ended up helping them buy a house. So you just never know.
Yep. You never know.
I've been
where
at
it's gonna
IKEA,
come
picked up a lead just talking to somebody that at IKEA.
Yep.
You never know.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good.
Especially if you're at parties too. I would say we recently had some clients, they invited us to their housewarming party and then didn't know anybody there, but just got to talking about how we knew each other and what do you do? And it gets brought up and you say, oh, I'm in real estate. And they're like, oh, isn't the market crazy? And then you'll find out more about it with them and they may be interested to do something.
Mhm.
Yep, just figure out a way to bring it into a conversation lightly, and some people, they wanna talk about it. Yeah, I think that's all we have. We're happy to answer any other questions that doesn't, not in regards to prospecting, if you guys want, we have time.
Social media or.
Social media,
I'm gonna jump off, but thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Of
You
course.
bet. If you ever need help, let us know.
that's right.
Thank you.
Alright.
Love it.
Alrighty.
Thank you, guys.
No
And don't forget,
secrets.
we have the ribbon cutting. So
That's
4
right.
o'clock.
4:00.
I'll be there.
Or there's cake and.
Are you gonna be here, Ashley?
Mhm.
Nice.
Jay was gonna try and stop by, but I told him it was just for the agents, so he can come to the next thing.
Well, they have lots of stuff coming up.
Well, good. Well, thanks for getting on, Ashley. If you ever
Yeah,
need
of
anything,
course.
call us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll see you guys here in a bit.
We'll see you here in a little bit.
All right.
Sounds
bye.
good.
Hi. Thanks, guys.
So do you think this is a scam? Because it's on my Facebook, I didn't have a Facebook ad, but I just got a text saying I'm very interested in your Facebook ad, and then it has a link to some listing.
Do you have a Facebook ad live right now?
No, not an ad.
Probably doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good.